but it's also like stabbing me in the eye. Um, but you can actually see me other than like a few weeks ago where it was in the dark because it was like raining. Um, anyway, so today, how to be Googleable. Let's keep it short. I've already taken up a minute. The very first thing that you're going to need to do to be a Googleable expert is share your expertise. And by share your expertise, I mean, unfortunately, you are going to need to do one or two or both of these things. The first one is write. So I'm going to need you to write. I'm going to need you to write blog posts, to write content. You're just going to have to write. Yep. That's it. Sorry, I said it. You're gonna have to write. But you have an alternative. You have an alternative to writing. The alternative to writing is doing video. Yeah, so you're probably gonna wanna write. I actually like doing video. That's why I'm here doing video with you today. I prefer it to writing. I actually prefer to do it in the reverse order. So I'm gonna talk about that for just a minute. And what I mean by do it in the reverse order is I prefer to do the video first and have that video content be available for me to transcribe and turn into a blog post. So if you head over to my blog, you're actually going to see not transcribed. I don't use the transcription as the blog post. I just take the highlights from it, and that is the blog post, because a lot of these topics are things that are completely bloggable. But of course, I want to do it in the right order. So that's how I go about it. And if you are like more comfortable on camera or would love to do video, then I would suggest doing live video, because what live video does for you is that it removes the like mental barrier that most of us have to doing video, which is editing. So a lot of us won't do video because we're like, well, then I'm going to have to edit and I'm going to have to do this and I'm going to have to do that. Well, yeah, but at the same time, if you do live video, then you don't have to do editing. You just have to deal with the unpredictability of the world, like, eyeball stabbing beings or dogs who are snoring underneath your feet. So I doubt you guys can hear that, but yeah, so there's a dog snoring underneath the camera. And before I started, he was like rolling over and shaking the tripod. And so it's live. That's just how it works. Like, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I can't kick him out. I mean, I can't kick him out, but I'm not going to kick him out. So I would suggest live video because it does really get you over the hump of figuring out, like, what am I going to do for editing? What am I going to do for this news? There's none of that. You just go live. You know what you're going to talk about. Like, I have a note card to tell me what my topic is and what my bullet points are, and that's it. Just do it. Just go live. That's a great way if you're not afraid of the camera and if you don't hate the sound of your own voice. Or if you, like me, are afraid of the camera and hate the sound of your own voice, but have overcome those challenges in order to put out content, then great. I will say the reason why I started going live is because I had done a ton of classes about going live, like teaching people how to do it and things like that. And what I realized is that I was explaining to everyone why they should be doing it, helping them along with figuring out what type of content to put in their lives and all that stuff. And that they were not seeing examples of it because I wasn't going live. And so there you go. I was like, I can't go ahead and have people out there. I'm teaching people how to do this, and I know how to do it because I've literally gone through the process of doing it. I've just not done it for myself like I did it for other clients and helped them. And so I'm like, well, you can't see that I know what I'm talking about until I do it, right? So I had to do the thing. That's really a part of your expertise, and building your expertise is showing people that you know what you're talking about by doing the thing. That's kind of a separate topic, but being Googleable though is about getting that content out there. So you're going to have to write, and by writing, I mean doing blogs on your website or doing Facebook Lives or creating a YouTube channel. And you can even go live on YouTube, by the way. So if this is you're like, oh, well, I don't want to go live on Facebook, or my Facebook audience isn't as responsive, or things like that, you can also go live on YouTube. Both of those things are really useful. Like, this video here is going to be helpful to me on both YouTube and on Facebook. It's going to be helpful to me for my blog posts. It's going to be helpful to me in a bunch of different ways, but it only works if I actually create the content in the first place. So establishing yourself as an expert for your business, especially if you're not a service-based business. I was going to say, especially if you're a service-based business, because with a service-based business, a lot of your clients are coming to you for your expertise. because they need you to guide them along on a journey. Like if you're a lawyer or an esthetician, or they want you to help them get to the point where they have clear and perfect skin, or where they're relaxed and natural, or whether they, you know, where they're not having to worry about trademark infringement. If that's where you are in a service-based business, then yes, doing video or doing blogging is going to be fantastic for establishing you as an expert. This also works for product businesses, though. Told you he was going to roll over. This also works for product businesses. And the product businesses, though, it's just a little bit different because the expertise that you're sharing may not be you personally. So it may not make complete sense for you guys to go live. This is hilarious to me. It may not make sense for you as the business owner to do it, but for you guys as a team, maybe there are people on your team who can go live to talk about different features of your products, or who can do videos on recipes or other types of content that will help people who are using your product actually incorporate your product into their daily lives. That's the entire point of doing the content. But you're going to want to start out with some sort of content, written or recorded video. And I'm gonna do a 0.5. So, you know, step 1 is write or do video. Step 0.5, the step before that, is gonna be do your research, because what I don't want you to do is to start recording and start writing and doing these things and not really know what it is that your audience cares about and wants to see and wants to know, especially because there's no reason for that. With Google, you can find out. And so what I want you to do is start searching out the products and services that you offer, the problems that are bringing people to your products and services, like why is someone taking a digital marketing class, or why is someone ordering vanilla extract, or why does someone need a lawyer that does trademark law? Like, why? So what are they looking for when they are looking for you, when they're looking for extract, when they're looking for digital marketing classes? What are these people looking for? What are they really after? And then what are the things that they're also searching for? So Google actually has at the bottom of your search screen, your search results page, there is a thing that says people also searched for. And it's really short. It does not have a ton of information in there, but you can use a tool like Keywords Everywhere, which is completely free. It's browser-based. You can use it in Firefox and Google Chrome. And in either of those browsers, when you type a keyword term in or a search term in, it will give you a list of things that people also search for. And then secondarily, it will give you an entire list of related searches. So it's got these kind of two separate things, which is like people literally also searched for this. And then below that, it has related searches, meaning these are things that are related to these keywords that people have searched for, maybe not just in the same context as this thing above. Both of those lists you can download as a CSV file and use them to help you figure out what to write about or what to do your Facebook Lives about. What you don't want to do is just be shooting in the dark. So make sure that you do that 0.5, step 0.5 before you actually write or record. Make sure that you are doing a little bit of research so that you know what it is people want to know before you press go, okay? But that's your first step. Rocking and rolling. Okay, first step is to actually write. The second step is to share your writing or share your videos. I'm going to talk about sharing your writing first because there are a few things that people get very confused about or worried about, and I want to clarify. When I say share your writing, and I use the word write first because what I want you to start doing as an expert is sharing your posts on LinkedIn as a blog post. I really, really want you to start doing that. I myself am going to start doing that like this week. I have a backlog of blog posts from previous websites and things that I've just never imported over to the new site. And I am going to start transitioning those things and actually putting them out on LinkedIn as LinkedIn blogs. Reason why I'm doing that, and I'm going to talk about LinkedIn real quick, and then I want to talk about Medium for a second before we move on to the third point. But the reason why you do it on LinkedIn is because LinkedIn is a search engine-able site, meaning that if someone types in your topic, like you're answering questions about unique ways to use vanilla flavoring in your savory dishes. Okay, so if someone types that into Google and you've written an article, even if it's on LinkedIn and you've written that article, they're more likely to find it, oddly enough, than if it's on your website, unless your website is McCormick's, like unless you're an old brand, the likelihood they're going to find you on the old brand is very low, but the likelihood that they'll find you on LinkedIn is high because LinkedIn has built authority already. So what you're doing when you put your post on LinkedIn is you're borrowing LinkedIn's authority to bolster yourself. So you get to say, huh, look at me, I'm an expert. I put this post on LinkedIn that has this information that you're asking for. It's really, really important that you do your research on this to make sure that the question that you're writing your post about is what someone's actually asking in Google so that you can get found when someone does that search. And then your face and your profile and all those things will be associated with that expertise, with that knowledge that you're handing out to your audience for people who don't even know you for free. It actually is really, really good at expanding you and broadening your reach. The second place that you can share your blog post that you wrote, and in addition, let's say this, in addition to your website, so of course you're going to put it on your website, and then in addition to your website, you can also share it on Medium. So medium.com, I believe it's medium.com. Medium is essentially a blogging platform where people can put out content that they've written. Let's say most of the people who are on Medium actually are bloggers. They have blogs other places, and they're using Medium to get found. And so Medium will share out the content to people who've subscribed. Like I'm a Medium subscriber. I actually get a couple of emails a day from Medium with interesting articles about the business industry or digital marketing or other types of things. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're horrible, but either way, it's really interesting to have those articles coming into my inbox because every time I read one of them, I'm discovering a new expert. I'm discovering a new person who can actually help me potentially in my journey to learn more about digital marketing, right? And so you can become that type of expert yourself if you're sharing your stuff out on Medium. And Medium crosses genre. So there's people who are writing on Medium who are writing about music, people who are writing about food, people who are writing about religion, people who are writing about law. It doesn't quite matter what it is you're writing about. Getting that post out on Medium is going to be really useful to you. Now, let's go over a couple of rules. If you're going to be putting your content out on your own website, LinkedIn, and on Medium, you want to do something like this. Put it on your website first. So your blog post is going to be on your website. And then you're going to write a shorter version. And not really write a shorter version, but write a version that like take the first, let's say 2/3 of the article and put it whole cloth exactly the way it was, and then write a paragraph at the bottom that says what the rest of the article is going to say. Like the rest of this article talks about X, Y, and Z. Find finish reading it on my website, and you can have a link to your website and do that. That's one really good way to get people to head back over to your website so they learn more about you and your business and stuff from being on your website. You can do that on LinkedIn easily. Medium doesn't like that very much, so you would want to instead do a previously posted on Medium, and you can also do a previously posted on LinkedIn. So you don't have to write a little snippet. You can post the entire article as is and just have a previously posted on laurenloftosocial.com/blog and then have a link that goes back to the blog. And you can do that on both Medium and on LinkedIn. And there isn't anything wrong with doing that. Some people say, well, that's going to cannibalize your search results, meaning that if there are 3 articles out there that are exactly the same text, then Google doesn't know which one to serve up. And that's not true. It's really interesting that people say that sort of thing. And I'm like, no, what they will do is serve up the one with the most authority, which is going to be LinkedIn. And that's fine. Like LinkedIn, the platform has more authority than both Medium and your website. Again, unless your website is something like randomly famous, like you're just some kind of crazy popular person, it's unlikely that LinkedIn is going to trump, or that LinkedIn isn't going to trump you. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because you're trying to establish yourself as an expert, not trying to drive website traffic. If you were trying to drive website traffic, we would be having a different conversation. What you're trying to do is be Googleable, meaning that you want people to find you, not your website. So again, that's not what this conversation is about. That's a different conversation. If you want people to find you and your expertise and who you are and what you offer, then you use these techniques. If you're looking for people to find your website, that is a different thing. We can have that conversation at another time. But if, again, you, the expert, you want to be a Googleable expert, this is what you do. LinkedIn, your website, LinkedIn, and Medium are great places. If you're going the video route, then I would suggest you do your video on both Facebook and YouTube, and make sure that if you're putting it on both of those platforms, no, Facebook is not searchable. It is not searchable. But YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And so when you put your video on YouTube, you want to make sure that you harken back to step 0.5, making sure that you're using the terms that people are searching for. Because if you're using those terms when you are posting that video on YouTube, you increase your likelihood significantly of getting found. But again, only if you're using the right terms, meaning that you looked it up. Like you're not playing around here, you looked it up. And so if you did that, you're good to go. If you did not do that, then good luck. Good luck to you, okay? And I don't want to be wishing you good luck like a pretense. I want you to actually have good luck. So don't worry about luck, worry about doing the things right so that you don't have to be lucky, okay? So 0.5, research. Step 1 is right. Step 2 is share what you've written. And when I say share, I don't necessarily mean on social media. Obviously, it's great to share things on social media. If you want a little social media tip, the one thing I would say is that it's a really good idea to share your content out on Pinterest, because Pinterest is also a search engine. So if you're sharing it on YouTube and LinkedIn and your website and Pinterest, you're going to be driving a ton more likelihood that you're going to be established as an expert for speaking on this topic, because all of those platforms are searchable, meaning that when someone types into Google, question mark, you know, what's the best way to avoid a trademark lawsuit on your very similar business name to someone else's. If you read an article on that and that happens to be something that people are searching, like you've checked, the people are already searching that. And I would say if other people have not written an article on it, it ain't something people want to know about. So look at what other people are doing. There is no reason to be trying to invent wheels here. You're going to put your own take on it, your own writing. Don't copyright anyone else's stuff, but make sure that you're writing like that you're answering the same question, because if you're answering the same question, you get found in that question, right? You're doing all those things and you're putting it on Pinterest and having pins that are linking back to your website, and maybe even pins linking to your article on LinkedIn or pins linking to your article on Medium. All of those things would be fantastic and totally doable. Pinterest does not care where you link people. You just have to have a business account in order to make the, like, I want to pick this image that you created and all that good stuff. I'll do a Pinterest class. It's completely different, like not going to give you all the tips there, but yes, Pinterest is kind of like a supercharged version of getting your information out there, because people are searching on Pinterest for questions. Like they actually are asking Pinterest questions on a regular basis, and the answers just come up as pictures, and then they click through on the website because Pinterest is clickable, unlike Instagram. Okay. So step number 3, and the reason, you know, the big reason why people who have started doing this sort of thing end up kind of, I hate to say the F word, but failing, is because they don't do step number 3, which is to repeat it. You're trying to establish yourself as an expert. One article ain't gonna cut it, okay? You need to be doing this over and over and over again. And when I say over and over and over again, what I really want you to start thinking about is this. How can I do a bunch of research? So do 0.5, step number 0.5, find a bunch of articles that people actually care about, topics that people are really interested in, that are related to your product or service, make a list, write a bunch of stuff or do a bunch of videos, do all of the content around those things that people are searching for, and then schedule those things out, right? So that you're, you know, I think you can actually schedule out your drafts on LinkedIn too. So you can write and then write and write and write and write. So you can binge write just like you would binge watch Stranger Things. You're going to get a bunch of content done or create a bunch of videos and then get them out and not worry about them anymore. Not think about them. And if you're doing YouTube, you can schedule your YouTube videos. People do it all the time. If you think that all those vlogs that you're watching are instantaneously posted, they're not. And those people, if they did, they would be losing majorly, because it's really hard to do instantaneous posting. It's hard to go live like I'm doing now. All sorts of things happen, like your dog is rolling around on the floor underneath you. It's a lot easier to do scripted pre-recorded things. And so what I'm suggesting is that you do scripted pre-recorded things, well, not scripted, but pre-recorded things, so that you kind of, you know, you can schedule it out. You can say, regardless of how I feel on this day, there's going to be a video that goes out answering this specific question. It's a really, really good idea to actually do that, schedule it, because repeating is how you get your success. Doing this over and over and over again, so that your name and your topic are established as a connection inside of inside of all of the things. I'm like, inside of LinkedIn, inside of YouTube, inside of Google, inside of Pinterest. If you're making that happen, then you can be like those people where you start Googling a term and it actually gives you a term and their name. Have you seen that show up? I'm like, oh, whoa, how, why? I love it when that happens. I think that's like the best thing ever. And what we need to be doing if we're trying to become a Googleable experts is putting out lots of content around a topic so that people will know, oh, they're the go-to person if you're talking about X, Y, or Z. So you're essentially branding yourself according to that topic. That is fantastic. Please do that. Please do that. Okay. But it only works if you're going to do your research, figure out what people actually are wanting to know, write your content or record your content, and then share it on multiple platforms so that it's not just in one place, and then repeat that process over and over and over and over and over again, because repeating it is what gets you to the point of expertise. Okay. There are plenty of people out there that we've never heard of because they wrote a book, or they wrote a post, or they did a video, and they may be the smartest, most prolific, most not prolific, but the most certified and the most everything about this topic. But it doesn't matter because they've not shared information more than once. And what we all need, because we are all busy and we are all frazzled, we are all doing 8 million things, we need people to do this more than once. We need to know that they are an expert by seeing them over and over again. How much more powerful is it going to be when someone Googles that question, gets you as an answer, but then also gets a bunch of other results with you in them answering questions that are similar, right? Now that is some rocket fuel. That is something that you cannot buy. You can only work for it, because doing Google ads is great, but what am I going to do? Google ads for every search term for key, question that someone might ask about my business? That would be expensive and kind of stupid. And so what I'm suggesting you do is not do that. Like, go the organic route. Just do the work, right? And plus, if you were going to do the ads version of reality, you'd have to do the work anyway. And so do the work and get this content out there, because it's going to be really helpful to you if you want to be a Googleable expert. Okay, guys, that's it. I almost got to 15 minutes. Not really. I'm so bad at this game. But hopefully you got a ton out of this. And I'll be back next Monday, Marketing Monday, to talk about another topic. If you have any topic suggestions, go ahead and drop them below. If you have questions about anything I just said, or if you would like to contradict me, let's argue. Let me know. I would be happy to chat. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Have a good week. Bye.